What's up, guys? Ryan here. Today I want to talk about something that's pretty controversial, something that everybody has an opinion about in the motorcycle world, and that is the great oil debate. There's a ton of products out there. There's a ton of data if you want to look it up and dig into it. Mechanics will tell you one thing. Everyday riders will tell you one thing, ADV riders, cruiser riders, people that ride metric bikes. Everybody has an opinion and everybody likes to weigh in on the great oil debate when it comes to motorcycles. And I'm just going to give you my 2 cents. It's just my opinion. It's not based on any type of factual information out there or doing any research or anything like that. It's just my opinion. It's what I do. It's what has worked really well for me. And and really what I want to do is I want to spur on some conversation. You guys tell me in the comments below what you think about oil and all the things when you're doing those fluid changes on your bike. So let's get to that intro right now. All right, guys, like I said in the intro, we're going to talk about oil and motorcycle oil and, just kind of debate that a little bit and discuss it. So I'm going to do a 3-hole oil or 3-hole fluid change on my bike, which includes the oil. And I do this once a season. I do all 3 holes once a season, usually at the beginning of my season. And the reason why I do this is because my bike sits in the wintertime. So I live in an area of the country where we only have about a 6-month riding season. So the way that I do my oil changes and what I do on my bike is what works for me. And I'm not saying that that's what should work for you, depending on the oil, the part of the country you're in, whether it's super hot, whether it's super wet. I think all of those things can affect what you should do. But this is what I do. I change all 3 of my fluids at the beginning of the season. Some people, there's a lot of information about whether the stuff settles and, blah, 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 right? This is how I do it. I change it at the beginning of the season and I put all fresh fluids in my bike. The way that I typically ride and the number of miles that I put on my bike, on average, my seasons go from about 7 to about 10,000 miles. I have about a 6-month riding season. The rest of the time, my bike sits on a trickle charger and it's dormant. I don't do that once a month starting thing. I know that's another debatable thing and we're not going to get into that. But so that's what I do. I change my fluids once a year and I have used all kinds of different things. And I can tell you that I haven't really found a noticeable difference in any of them. Maybe the color of the oil has changed a little bit. If you use Redline, that stuff for your transmission, it comes out pink. I haven't really noticed a noticeable difference in really any of the fluids. I would have to say I noticed a noticeable difference in the very beginning of the season when I changed all my fluids. Everything feels pretty fresh. The bike feels pretty good. But I think that's also because I haven't been on a bike for a whole season or for 6 months. So that could be it too. But so I do my 3-hole at the beginning of the season. And then depending on the mileage that I'm doing, I'll do one more oil change before my season's over, usually about mid-season. Or if I've put 4,000 or 5,000 miles on my bike and I know I've got a big trip coming up, I'll do another oil change mid-season. But I won't do the 3 fluid change unless there's a reason to, but I'll do another oil change. And that's really the kind of the pattern that I've been following the last few years, because at the end of my season, now I know that my bike's just going to sit for all those months. And so, some people will say, well, put fresh oil in, I haven't really been in the habit of doing that. I usually change my oil at the beginning of the season. I'll do a cold startup. I'll let it run for a few minutes here, and then I'll dump that. That's been what I do, and it works for me. This time around, I went a different route. So I've used Harley Synth 3. I used that for a long time. And I had that in my bike. And then when I did my own 3-hole, I put in, I don't even know, whatever the Amazon special is. There's a there's a kit out there that you can buy that has all the Harley stuff in it. And I will say that kit used to be like $75 and it's like $120 now. So oil has gone up in price significantly, especially those 3-hole kits. But this time around, that one wasn't available. I know if you go like online, Harley's Synth 3 kit is very, I mean, it's like $150, I think, right now. And if you go into Harley and have like the 3-hole done at a dealership, I think it's like $300 for a 3-hole change. Now it's friggin' ridiculous. It's so bad. So if you can do any maintenance on your bike yourself, man, do your 3-hole changes, because that can save you a lot of money. I do suggest getting some sort of flat jack or jack that you can put your bike up upright to do the other 2. Oil you can do on the side stand, but the other 2 you probably need your bike upright. But this time around, I'm going with the Motul. So let's look at that. Motul, that's what I'm going to be using this time. I looked at it and it says like performance oil change kit. It says, I think it's like Bagger Racing League or King of the Baggers. It's the official oil for that. So it must be pretty good. I do know one thing about oil, and that is in much higher temps, obviously oil breaks down faster. So I think if you lived like in a place like Arizona, you might, the type of oil that you run in your bike might be a little bit more California or, maybe Florida, right? I don't know. But I think if you're changing your oil on your bike on a pretty regular basis, you're going to, you're going to be just fine. The other thing too that I know is, and there's been a lot of controversy about this, but Harley as a company has been around for a long time. And I think that their Synth 3 stuff is pretty good, right? I think if it was terrible, you'd probably see more problems with it. I would guess that it would be in their best interest to have developed fluids that work really well on their bikes and don't break down and don't inherently just cause problems because those fluids or products are bad. So I don't think you can go wrong with those. I do think because they have the Harley emblem on it that they put a label on there and charge a premium price for it. Now, what I've heard, and this is just anecdotally, and I don't know if it's true or not, so please put in the comments below. But my understanding, there's only like 3 large manufacturers, and maybe I'm wrong, so please put this in the comments below. So I don't want to state that this is fact. This is just what I've heard. That there's 2 or 3 manufacturers that manufacture all of the oil products, no matter the name. That there's subsidiaries and there's parent companies and all these kind of things, but they manufacture all of it, and that there isn't such a huge difference between the product brands across the board. If I'm wrong, please put that in the comments below and correct me, because I would like to know if I am actually wrong. That's really what I'm trying to do, is just kind of spur on some conversation, because the great oil debate is exactly that, right? Everybody has their opinion. There is a bunch of fact out there, but I don't think any of us have really gone through and dug and done the research, and whether there's studies out there or anything like that talk about what the best kind of stuff to run is on your bike. But anyway, like I said, I want to know in the comments below. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing the 3-hole Motul kit for my bike at the beginning of the season. That's where I'm at right now, so I'm going to get to work doing that. I'm not going to do a oil change and 3-hole video. There's tons of those out there. You should know by now, if you're doing maintenance on your bike, how to do those. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. So if you like this, give me a like, give me a subscribe, hit me up in the comments below. I'm super curious about what you guys are using on your bikes, how often you change them, and if you have some legitimate information on the great oil debate, hit me up below and let me know, educate me. I'm completely open to it. So that's all I got for you guys today. This is Kid Moto, and I am out.